So, I guess we'll go with this next. When I saw this, it was like a trip down memory lane, and it was sort of weird because recently I found some home videos, and no one in my family still has a VCR, that they can play these things on, and of course I do. So I start looking through all these old videos, and I found like when I got my Sega Saturn for Christmas as a kid, when I got my Nintendo 64, and I found one of my sister's birthday parties. We had a pool at my grandparents' house growing up. Not some like outrageous pool, just an above the ground pool with this deck connected to it, and we had this like swimming party. She had a swimming birthday party, and she actually got what I'm about to pull out here for her birthday, and I was so jealous. I didn't have a reason to be, because I had, I think, a Nintendo and all kinds of other shit, but I really wanted this, and it's the original, the exact box in the original box as far as I know, and that is the original Game Boy box. I'm pretty sure this is the original. This is the first, at least in America, the first box they ever released. And that's pretty cool. I mean, I wouldn't care if this box was worth $2. Alright? This, to me, is worth having, worth looking at in my collection. To me. So it's not some sort of monetary value or whatever. It's nostalgic for me. You got the styrofoam inside. That's funny. The first thing I see when I open it up is a Sega Game Gear manual. So I don't know if he threw that in there purposefully just because he saw it lying around, or if that somehow made it its way into there years ago. Who knows? But it looks like it does have all the paperwork. We've got a poster. We have the Nintendo of America warranty registration paper. So that's pretty cool. The Nintendo Power brochure, ad, whatever. And the owner's manual. And then an important notice paper that shows you how to insert the game, and it explains to people that there's a contrast dial. Not to call Nintendo if your screen's not working, if all it is the contrast. So that's pretty funny. They probably anticipated getting 1,000 phone calls a day. Nintendo probably anticipated getting thousands of phone calls a day for for that exact issue. My screen's not working. Sir, did you check the contrast dial? I never really thought about that, but imagine, giving the Game Boy to, a 5-year-old, and, 2 minutes later, after playing Tetris for 5 minutes, the screen's broken. This doesn't work. They changed the batteries. Wow. I mean, the thing is, if that paper's in there showing that, there had to be people that were calling in with that issue. Because even though it as far as I know, it's the first box, that's probably maybe a later release of the first box that they started including that paper, right? Who knows? I don't know. I'm making a big deal for nothing on this tangent. Let's get to what's next. So, the next two items are kind of bigger. He told me he was sending them, and I was just fucking floored. So, I never had any one of these things. I never really thought I'd be able to find them or anything like that. So the fact that I have them is just fucking unbelievable to me. But so we have a Sega Nomad. Now, there's a couple issues with the Sega Nomad here, and from what Marlon told me, the guy that owned this, at some point, I don't know if he did it himself or he had somebody do it for him, but it was modded to have like a screen upgrade. Maybe a screen upgrade, maybe just a screen replacement. I don't know which. But supposedly they have a line that's on the right side of the screen that the owner of it just irked him, so he didn't want it anymore, and he gave it to Marlon, and Marlon was like, yeah, I'll take it. I think one of my buddies would really like that. So the guy gives it to him, Marlon turns around and gives it to me. And I'm like, fuck yeah, worst case scenario, I'll put up with it, or, you know, I'll get it fixed. Whatever, you know? Like, are you serious? Then turn down a Sega Nomad? No way, dude. Even if it was broken, I'd still put it on my shelf and be like, there you go, fucking Sega Nomad. But, yeah, we're gonna try this out. And it's got battery pack attached, which, see, that's the thing, I never had a Sega Nomad before. Never held them. I knew they were out, but and I wanted one, but I don't remember what the issue was, that because after I got a Nintendo, my sister got a Super Nintendo, so it was kind of like I got to play Super Nintendo whenever I wanted. And so I was able to get a Sega Genesis instead of a Super Nintendo because I knew she was getting a Super Nintendo. And after I got a Sega Genesis, it's like I got a Sega Saturn, I got the Sega Dreamcast. So I don't really know what happened that I never got one of these, but I know I wanted one. I know I wanted the Game Gear. I never got either one of them. But now I have the Game Gear and the Nomad, so that's pretty sweet. And it's not, you know, the thing that's cool about this to me is while it probably drains batteries like you would not believe, first of all, I have a bunch of rechargeable batteries, so I'm not worried about that. But secondly, it's not made by Hyperkin, okay? You know, so the games are gonna play like they should be playing. That to me is pretty cool. So let's move on. Let's see what's next. I will also say that he included the AC adapter for the Sega Nomad. So let's just pull this out. Does anybody know what it is yet? Anyone? No? A fucking Super Grafx. I mean, how fucking cool is that? How fucking cool is that? I know he tested it before he sent it to me, and he said it works. This, at current, will play the, I don't know if it's 7, 6, I think it's 7 Super Grafx games, and it will play Japanese hue cards. Now hopefully, you know, an update to my Turbo Duo. I'm still waiting on the guy. Most recently, he discovered an issue he thinks he found with the Turbo Duo. I had to send him the 2 PCE Works games that were giving me issues, so he could sort of put you know, a worst case scenario with the system to be able to diagnose the problem and adjust the. I think it's a potentiometer problem. So I think he's adjusting the potentiometers to make sure that no matter what disc I put in, reproduction or not, the console is going to be legit. And he's also supposed to mod the Hue card to be able to play USA and Japan Hue cards. So I'm still waiting on an update. I'm assuming in the next week or so that I'll hear an update on that. So, man, this is nuts. Really, really cool. I mean, this thing, I don't know. It looks like it goes under a hood, you know? It's like some sort of fucking engine parts. It's got like these mock Allen wrench holes. I mean, I don't think that opens anything. It doesn't look like actual screws. Yeah. I wonder if someone ever tried to do that and broke their console. Alright, so, you know, he sent me that, and he also sent me yet another controller. I mean, I'm all set on controllers. Really, really cool. And he put the AV cable, and he included a charger, but he said, look, to be on the safe side, go buy yourself an official charger for it. So, you know, that's what I'm gonna do. God, just really cool stuff. And that is the end of the box. I do want to take this time to thank Marlon. I mean, amazing fucking box. You know, amazing box of shit. The Game Boy box. Oh man, I can't tell you how nostalgic that box is for me. And it's like, I have a Game Boy, I have a copy of Tetris, so it's like I'm able to complete the box. You just put everything in the box and then boom, done. So yeah, the Super Grafx, the Sega Nomad, the Dracula X Chronicles for the PSP itself, man, just holy shit. And then the Game Boy Advance games. One of them is sealed. Like, I think that's the first time I ever, because both of those games, well, let me take that back. The Konami game, I knew about. I was actively searching for that Konami game, because Konami back in the day was amazing. Not unlike nowadays, but the Capcom I didn't know about, but if I did know about it, I would have been actively pursuing it. So I think that's the first time I ever get a sealed box game, you know, like, I mean, I have a sealed PlayStation 2 game, but it's just because I haven't opened it yet, but something like that, like, I don't actively pursue sealed anything, really. So it's just sort of weird that ended up in my collection, like, it's pretty cool.